Hello there. Hello, everyone. This is Nicole M. Louie, the social worker strategy mentor. I am so sorry I'm late. I was with one of my mentees. We ran over slightly in our session because we were getting into the good stuff, and it was really productive sessions. So apologies for being late. I said I was going live today. And today I'm going to be talking about how to stop stuff getting in the way. Okay. And when I say getting in the way, I'm talking about get in the way of you making progress, get in the way of you getting things done that you know you need to get done, be it taking your steps to become independent, be it taking care of yourself and your health, be it making a decision. Whatever it is, we all have got things that are going on in life. We all have stuff going on, and stuff will forever be in our lives. But how do we manage stuff so that it doesn't really hold us back, slow us down? And these are some things that I've been learning and things that I'm always learning, because it shows up in different ways. Remember, I always talk about the imposter syndrome always turning up at different ways and at different stages of your life and your career. Same thing with this. This is kind of, it can be tied in, but not necessarily. So I just want to focus on that today. So if this is something that you will find helpful, then stick around. And please do also tag a social worker that you know would really benefit from this, or share it actually would be even more helpful, so we can get started. So also, I'd love to know where you might be joining from, because I have people in my network that are like everywhere, all over the world. So I'm always intrigued and interested to know where people are joining from. So pop it in the comments and let me know, and be interactive. You can talk with me and stuff like that, and I will always go in and reply to your comment. So let's get into it. So, okay. This was really something that I wanted to talk about based on not just my own experiences, but certainly with my mentees that I'm working with. I can remember one mentee in particular has really, really struggled with getting stuff done and committing to getting it done when they say they're going to do it, because stuff gets in their way. And, it's because life happens. And so one of her goals was around becoming independent, but even outside of that, some of it was just taking care of her own needs, taking care of her health, making sure that she was sitting down and doing the work necessary to plan to take care of her health. And even stuff was getting in the way of that. Sorry, IG, my battery. Perhaps I should plug in my charger, would be helpful. Give me a minute. And let me just plug in my charger so it doesn't suddenly go poof. Because you know me and tech. Tech loves me. Okay. So as I was saying, so stuff got in the way, right? And what she found was that not only did she miss opportunities to do other things, she kind of found the domino effect of her not taking the action when she needed to, procrastinating on it, kind of putting it on the back burner, not because it was something that she was fearful around, but she just found stuff was getting in the way that she was prioritizing as more important, and it felt more important at that time. So she was getting on with those things and kept putting it on the back burner. And you know how time just flies, whether or not you're having fun. You might be very stressed, but time still flies. And so, days were passing, weeks were passing, and then before you know it, 2 or 3 months had passed and this thing still hadn't been done. And so, it put her in a place where she missed out on an opportunity to actually really manage her life and her situation in a way that would have been much simpler for her, because she did not take the action. Stuff kept getting in the way. I think of another client that I had when I worked with him. Working in frontline child protection, was where he worked. And he was finding that, the demands of the job, the being on duty and having new cases coming in meant that he was working longer. And so not putting in boundaries was also a thing. And I can remember when he had something personal that he needed to do, that involved like storage and needing to get things sorted out there, removing items, he didn't prioritize the time to do that, which meant it spilled over into 2-3 months later, and it cost him more money. it meant that he was still busy. In fact, he was busier than when he really needed to have done it, but he still had to do it because the contract was up in the storage. He did not have a choice, and it meant he was going to bed all hours of the morning. He was exhausted, tired. Like, the impact was just so great because he did not prioritize the time. He kept letting stuff get in the way. Now, when I refer to stuff, it can be anything, important things, not so important things. And you might remember, I've done a live stream before. Maybe it wasn't a live stream. It might have been when I did one of my workshops or my programs, my 3-day challenge, where we looked at Steve Covey's time management. You know, that box where you can look at important and priority, not important, but priority, etc., and being able to have a system that really works. You might have like the planner, my planner that I use, where you're able to prioritize and make sure that you're putting things to time. These are some of the things that we looked at. So I'm going to talk a little bit about exactly what I did with him. Before I go any further, for those of you that may have just joined, we're talking about how to stop stuff getting in the way so that it's not really impacting on you progressing. So if this is something that's helpful for you, stick around. Please tag and share this with any other social worker that you think will benefit from hearing this. And if you would actually like support to actually work on this in a very systematic, methodical way, where you've got the accountability piece as well, and help to understand how to compartmentalize your time so that your time is being used well and effectively, then you can book. I'm going to put a link above and below for you to be able to book a time to have a chat with me, a 45-minute free consultation where we can look at independence, look at what you want to create as well for yourself, and what you can do to actually better manage your time now and work towards independence. So you can book a time to do that with me. So I'm going to talk to you about what I did with him, basically, to help get him on track, and also my other clients, the other two that I mentioned, where I did this exercise, where this was a particular issue for them. So first things first, in terms of things to stop stuff getting in the way, you've got to identify what the stuff is, okay? And usually it will be repeat offenders. It will be repeat offenders that keep on cropping up, getting in the way and derailing you. And some of that is stuff that you're creating yourself, and which is called self-sabotage. And some of it is going to be things that people are putting in your way, which is usually as a result of poor boundaries, or not enough boundaries, or not the right boundaries. And other times it's just like stuff like life that happens that you just have no control over, and so you need ways of managing it. And one of the ways is around you being able to utilize emotional intelligence but not panicking, and being able to regulate your emotions so that you can actually have a clear head to think about how to really tackle this, and having things in plan. So let's talk about the first way, which is around your self-sabotage. So you may create things where you know, you've got something that needs to be done, you know, in your head you need to do it, but you know, work is getting in the way, whatever. And instead of you saying to yourself, I'm going to prioritize, I know for a fact that I'm not contracted to work more than these hours, I've already done way over my hours already, this needs to get done for my health, for my independence, for my family, for my partner, for my children, you know, for myself, just in terms of, you know, mental reprieve, then, you know, I need to do this. But your self-sabotage will be, you'll want to go and create it, you'll want to go and do it. You may even start putting things in place, but somehow you'll find a reason not to do it. Like everything else becomes more important. And so doing like the work for work, you're going to tell yourself that if this doesn't get done, this is, it's going to equals this, like something really bad happening, whether that's somebody dying on your caseload, or whether you getting into trouble, or you getting fired, or whatever you think it might be. And so you'll create this narrative, and that kind of puts you in a bit of an emotional frenzy as well, where you end up, you know, focusing on the stuff instead of what's really, really important. You may even negate doing the preps, things that you need to do that will allow you to take care of the things that need to really be done, and you will just not do it because you know that it means that it will keep you accountable to actually do what needs to be done. Okay, so that's the first way in terms of self-sabotage. And so the other one, which is where life is getting in the way, genuinely, like crisis crops up or whatever the case may be. You're going to be working on things and something happens, but you're not regulating your emotions, and it kind of feeds into the one that I just spoke about, which one I'm talking about, this one next, rather than the third. You're going to emotionally, you're going to be telling yourself and creating a narrative around what might happen, and it's kind of that all or nothing thinking, like if this happens, this is definitely going to happen, which may not be the case at all. And so addressing and improving emotional intelligence around what am I feeling, why am I feeling this way, and what is the reality of what the consequence is going to be, because the reality is there's a consequence to you not doing the things that need to be done. It's getting in the way of you making progress, of you making that decision, taking that action, whatever it might be. That stuff has consequences too if it's not done, like the examples that I gave right at the beginning. So you want to be able to, in your mind, cognitively and intelligently weigh up what are the consequences of me doing it or not doing it right now. And for both of those, and then look at the in between and marry up and say, okay, I need to do a bit of both of these, because one, yes, this is way more important in the long term, but I know if I don't start addressing it right now, it's going to be a huger problem than this right now, which is work stuff, let's say, getting in the way. And so you want to make sure that you're intelligently looking at it and planning strategically how you can bring the two together, so you're actually, whether it's tools like Stephen Covey's time management tool, yeah, whatever it might be, a planner, whatever it might be, a list. I love to-do lists, right? And so whatever it might be, and you put that down, even if you can't sit and do the full thing in the plan, you might just have a to-do list or on a post-it note of what you're going to cover for the next 2 hours. And you're going to put it in there, and you're going to work your way to what bits of the work and the stuff that's getting in the way that does not need to be done right now, and what things can you be doing to work towards, even if you're chipping away at the important things. Okay, so that's in terms of the self-sabotage, and if real life, work stuff get in the way and things, life happening, that's how you manage those two. When it comes to the other way, which is about the lack of boundaries, like people being the stuff and getting in your way and stealing your time, as I said, it's around the lack of boundaries. And so what you want to be doing is doing just that, putting some boundaries. But if you do one thing in your life in a particular way, you will usually also have similarities, or you'll show up in the same kind of way in other areas of your life. And so if you're lacking boundaries there, you may well be lacking boundaries in other areas, which is why stuff keeps coming up and getting in the way in the first place, right? So the boundaries with people is around being able to say no, because some of us, especially as social workers, are people pleasers, and we don't like to say no. We want to rescue people, and we feel as though if we don't do it, they're not going to get out of their situation, and who else is going to help them if I don't help them? Like, all of that is rescuing talk. And the reality is people need to be held accountable, and they need support and encouragement, and they need tools to be able to help manage their own situation, so you're not always having to rescue with your cape. We want you to be able to take your cape off and put it down and be able to focus on yourself at times. So, creating boundaries where you say no to people, not right now, or why don't I help you do this instead, or let me signpost you to here, or have you tried this instead, might be a better way of managing that, rather than feeling you need to put the cape on and go rescue them. So that's that. The other element is that sometimes you need to be able to say yes to yourself. And sometimes, even if you're saying yes to somebody, it's about when that happens. It doesn't have to be now. Again, it's that using Steve Covey's time management, similar thing. Is this really a crisis right now? If we don't do it right now, even though their emotional state is up there or their anxieties are up there, I'm meeting them up there, and actually I need to be down here, so I can think logically about, if this doesn't get done right now, what's going to be the worst case scenario, right? And that's going to help you be able to say yes or no. And if it's a yes, maybe it's not a yes right for this minute, but yes, let's do this in a couple of hours or tomorrow. Yeah, the same skills that we use as social workers every day on the front line or when you're doing planning in long term. Okay, so we're trying to get out of crisis mode, essentially, is what I'm talking about, because when stuff happens, we're treating it as though it's a crisis, and it's not a crisis. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, in fact 9.5 times out of 10, 99.9 point out of 10, it is not a crisis, but we treat it as if it is, because we're used to running on autopilot and dealing with crisis as social workers. So we need to be able to understand that the stuff is just things that are happening that can be managed. And when we're in a state of emotional calm, then we're in a better position to really think through what we need to do, when and how, so that we're not firefighting and we're not stressing ourselves out. Okay, and that means that we're going to be available to do the stuff that's really important. And so some of the stuff can actually be left completely until next week. Yeah. And it means that right now and for this week, the things that are really important for ourselves, for our own progress, whether it's in our health, our family, our children, our partners, our career, we can actually focus on. And this is a really big thing that the social workers that I mentor struggle with. And so if this is something that you would really like support in, so that you're not in this constant fight, flight kind of scenario and feeling where your anxieties are constantly raised because you know in the back of your mind you want something different for your career, you don't even know how, and you've been thinking about this now for the past couple of months. You said that you were going to reach out to either myself or somebody else, a friend that you know is independent, or another organization, or you were going to start looking on YouTube for some things, but you have not yet done it. And the anxiety is there, it's in the back of your mind, and it's stressing you out because you haven't dealt with it, you haven't touched it yet. And time is just flying by without you being able to catch up. It's really important that you're able to implement some of these things so that you can actually get a handle on it. One of the number one ways of you being able to manage, I'm finding, and my mentees are, is using the planner. I have a planner where I'm able to chart down for the week what I'm doing, so I can see for the month what I'm doing, what my activities are. It's all color coordinated. And then on the day, every time slot has got something filled in from the moment I wake up to the moment I'm in bed. So much of that is my own routine in terms of how I'm managing my day, my exercise, spa in the morning, walks, breakfast, going for a walk after breakfast, exercise, and my wind down routine usually starts, if I'm not doing a live stream, my wind down routine for the evening would have already started at either 6, sometimes 5:30, where I'm having my nice long hot bubble bath, all of those things. And I'm doing that every evening. I do a facial, I go in my infrared sauna, I'll do various things. I'll go for a walk, and I would have already had my supper, and I'm just winding down, chilling out, binge watching on YouTube videos, stuff that I want to look at and catch up with programs, maybe on the phone with people, whatever it is, but I have a wind down routine. And so anything else in between that is appointments, meetings, I might be doing some research, whatever it might be, but it's my time is ordered. And so that helps me to manage stuff as well, because it happens to me too. And so sometimes I have to reconfigure. Sometimes I get complacent and I don't put things in the planner, and then I double book myself, or I'll do something and it kind of messes my week up. And so I have to also rejig and stay on top of it myself. So if you want help and support with that kind of thing, because this is something that happens for you and you're not on top of, whether it's work or things that you're trying to pursue, especially independence, you will be here this time next year still talking about it, but not have taken a toe forward if you don't start being intentional. So book your spot. I'm going to put the link above. If you're on Instagram, it will be in my bio. Okay, so you can go there right now. And for those of you on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, it will be in the comment section and above in the description for you to go ahead and book your slot. So I look forward to seeing you then. and say la vie. If you have any questions, put it in the comments and I will go ahead and respond to them. Thank you for watching. See you again. I'll be back on Tuesday. Bye, love.